I'm Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on, our infamous roundtable gets together. We'll see what kind of controversies they get into. But between now and then, some great guests and important information coming your way, including we'll have a visit from one of our area mayors. So stay tuned for that. A lot to do. But first, we're going to start out talking about kids and Kids for Kids Triathlon. It's a big event coming up. We're going to find out more about it from three very special guests. On my right, our good buddy, David Daggett, an attorney with Daggett Schuler. He and his partner, Griff, have brought along their own special guest. Jade Costin, among other things, is owner of Chick-fil-A Thruway. He's very active in a lot of the triathlon events, and as David Daggett reminded me off camera, he's the #1 triathlete in the area. And of course, Griff Schuler, who is a legend in his own mind, in his own time.
Yeah, definitely on mine.
A great soccer player in your time at the university. So we have great athletes here with us, including not me. All right, now guys, I want to start with Jade. Lori Bates, our director. I want to go in the middle to Jade first. You're active in supporting all these events, but that also includes one that took place last week. Before we get to the big one coming up, what was last week, quickly?
Sure. Last week was the first annual Smiley Triathlon, and it was a tribute to Richard Smiley, who was a great fitness advocate in our community, really the mentor to a lot of us triathletes in town on health and fitness, and he was just a great contributor to the community.
That's just great. Now, will that become an annual event?
Absolutely. We had we felt like we had some smashing success pulling that triathlon off, and we're definitely going to do it again.
These two guys did it. It was a huge success.
Really. Let's talk about another success coming up, the Kids for Kids Triathlon. I want to learn all about that. Still with Jade first. Let me go back to Jade. What is it very briefly, and who can participate?
Sure. Kids for Kids Triathlon is open to any child age 7 to 14. We've got multiple divisions. It's really, to be honest, Jim, it's the premier kids triathlon in the state of North Carolina.
Well, David, what will you be doing at this thing?
So, Griff and I are the title sponsors, and I am the MC, the voice, the announcer of the event, and it's my favorite event of the year. I mean, it is a ball watching these young kids.
Griff, why is this good for kids, and why is it good for the community?
Well, it introduces them to the active fitness lifestyle. It's interesting, Jim, because all three of our kids have done it in the past. And to see them accomplish this and to be around their friends and be able to do it with their parents looking on and everything, it's such a great environment, and it's one that really encourages the kids to come back and do it the next year. And it's just a great event all the way around.
Jade, let me ask a stupid question. I want to understand, because there's got to be some kind of proceeds involved in this thing. So how is money collected? How is it raised? Where do the proceeds go? So help me understand that.
Sure. Very simply, Kids for Kids Triathlon seeks sponsors. So Daggett Schuler, Chick-fil-A Thruway, some of the title sponsors are contributing money. Then there's also an entry fee. But what's unique about the Kids for Kids race is over the last 17 years, approximately $125,000 has been given back to local community charities.
Kids charities.
Kids charities.
Kids charities, yes.
That's just amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask David a quick follow-up here in just a second, but before we run out of time, I want to make sure we get this up on screen and spend some time with this. I want to remind everybody what we're talking about. Kids for Kids Triathlon, Saturday, July 13th, right?
That's correct.
8 a.m. It's at Brookberry Farm. For information, what Jade and Dave and Griff would like you to do is go to kidsforkidstriathlon.com. I'll say it again for the WSJS radio listening audience. Kidsforkidstriathlon.com, and also please visit the Daggett Schuler website, which is up on screen for all sorts of information. What a great group, DaggettSchulerLaw.com, 724-1234. David Daggett, why do you and Griff and your team support things like this?
Well, healthy fitness activities in a safe environment that involves the community is good for all of us. It's good for building community, it's good for building health and fitness, and it's good for the future, particularly the Kids for Kids. We're building the future, I think, which helps us all.
And Jade, again, quickly, it's what ages to what ages?
7 to 14. So there's a 7 to 10-year-old division, and then an 11 to 14-year-old.
So the 7-year-olds aren't going to be competing against the 14-year-olds.
Correct. That's why it's a division.
And it's shorter as well.
Correct.
The run is short. The events are 3 events, and it's what, biking, swimming?
So 7 to 10 is a 100-yard swim, a 3.1-mile bike, a 0.6 run, and then the 11 to 14 is twice that, so it's 2 loops.
That's just great what you all do. Jade, now if I came to one of your other events what if I didn't want to participate? What if I just wanted to stay at the finish line and eat Chick-fil-A sandwiches? Would that be all right?
That would
Well,
be that
we
would
have-
be well accepted.
But we have lots of family, friends, spectators, community members who do come out.
And
it's
watch and
great.
support.
Absolutely.
And donate. You guys are great, seriously. Thanks for everything you do. All right, we'll be right back after this. Triad Today, and I'm always grateful when we can get this lady to drop down and talk to us for a few minutes, give us an update on what's going on with hospice care, and also maybe remind us from time to time how we can all help hospice, help others. So let's do all that right now with our good friend next to me. Sheila Jones is Director of Marketing and Public Relations for Mountain Valley Hospice and Palliative Care. Welcome back, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
We always do this when you get here because sometimes people didn't see the previous show or they've just moved into the area, but let's remind folks what hospice is and who you serve.
Hospice is the care for those folks that facing a serious illness. We care for the patient and family as a whole, and we do that in 17 counties in North Carolina and Virginia.
Now, I understand that there's a special summer camp that you guys have going, and it's called Brighter Days Camp. It's under this, I guess, the Kids Path umbrella, which we talked about
And actually,
before.
this year they're calling it Kids Path Camp, Jim.
Are they?
Yes, it's really cool.
So Kids Path Camp, and now what is that, first of all, and what ages does it serve?
It serves school-age children, and it is a camp for children who may have lost a loved one within the last year or so. And so, kids tend to, we're all raised in that kids should be seen and not heard kind of thing, and
Right.
oh, they're too little to understand. Kids do understand. Kids have those grief feelings just like adults do, and they just manifest in different ways. And so Kids Path Camp is a great way for them to come and be together and be with others like them. Think of it as a support group for kids, like
Which we have
adults
plenty of for adults.
Right.
And it does. Look, folks, we've all been through this, and I've lost loved ones, and it's always good to have some kind of support. It's never easy for adults, but like you said, it's a whole different kind of grieving for kids, trying to come to grips with what this is and why we lost mom or dad or grandma or my brother or sister. And the camp, the Kids Path Camp, really does wonders.
It does wonders, and the thing that's great is that it's getting them in the same room with others like them. It's helping them understand what they experience is normal. They do an example of one of the things I got to help with a few years ago is that we all have anger with our grief, and so we let the kids break dishes. They used hammers and broke dishes, and then they took those pieces and they put them into concrete molds and made stepping stones. So they turned that anger into something beautiful, which helped them understand that you can do that in your grief.
Wow.
And so it's a great way to have them, have that positive part about grief.
You guys are great. I just think that's a neat thing. Well, let's talk, before time gets away from us, instead of doing this at the end of the segment, I want to make sure we have time to really read this, everybody at home. Up on screen, the Kids Path Camp. Kids Path Camp, this is a grief camp. It's just as Sheila described. June, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, June 21st is in Wilkesboro, right? Now, Surrey County is going to have one, and I think the dates are June 26th through 28th, so that's the 2-3 day type thing.
And it's during the day, and it doesn't matter if they don't live in Surrey County or in Wilkes County. We're just trying to offer, to have several locations to be closer to those being served in that 17 county region. They're even doing it in Virginia. There's some different dates for Virginia.
Some of the Virginia ones are already underway,
already
right?
happened last
but now
week,
let me
had
ask
great
you, I
success.
don't understand about the Surrey County thing. June 26th through 28th, does that mean that I can send my kid, let's say if the grandfather or brother or sister died or something, and I want to send them to Grief Camp Kids Path. When you say 26th through 28th, do they come back each day? Or
Every day. It's a day camp.
Every day, okay.
Day camp.
Now, for more information up on screen, it's 888-789-2922 if you have particular questions, I believe. And then you can visit mountainvalleyhospice.org, of course, always, because you can get through information on all this. You also have a big event coming up this fall, but people say, well, Jim, why are you mentioning it if it's this fall? But you need volunteers to sign up now for this event. What is it, why?
Because we want you to have a team. This is a team event. It's called Night of 1,000 Lights, and we're thinking of the lights as being those that we serve, those families, so the lights are in remembrance of those. And it's a team event, so you can, as a family or as a business, can get up a team and have a team and come and walk. It's going to be at our Fish River Park held in Dobson. It's going to be a family affair. There's going to be bouncy houses for the kids and different things for everybody to do. There's several bands already lined up for music.
And that's coming like what, September or something?
September 21st, I think, is
So
the date
what do
on
you
that.
need the volunteers to sign up for now? What do they do?
We want the volunteers to help us put the event on, to help
Gotcha.
us organize all that.
Okay.
It's a lot that goes into an event that size.
We have a few seconds left. How is the resale shop doing? Because that's another way that, we always try to raise funds to help with the mission. Very quickly.
The resale shop's doing well. Folks are donating things by the house load.
Great.
So we have a truck, and those volunteers take that truck and travel and go and do that. We in turn sell those items and turn those into dollars to help take care of patients. And that's why we can still say we're one of the few hospices that don't turn anybody away based on ability to pay.
Bless your heart. Y'all just do great work, and I don't mean to embarrass you, but thanks for everything you do, you and your team. It's very special. And I hope people will go to the website. And when you know if you have a loved one who has a terminal illness, don't wait.
Don't wait.
Go meet with Sheila and her folks. We'll be right back after this. Now on Triad Today, and I can't think of anything nicer than talking about people that have healthy relationships. Now, fortunately, we have an expert here who's been on the show before talking about healthy relationships, and she's here to do it again because you can't talk about it too much. Next to me is Dr. Christine Murray. She's professor in the Department of Counseling and Educational Development at UNCG. Among many other things, she wears a lot of hats. Welcome back to the show, Doc.
Thanks so much for having me back.
In addition to teaching, because you teach, now my notes tell me that you direct this Healthy Relationships Initiative. Healthy Relationships Initiative. What is that exactly for people that don't know, and what is the mission?
The mission of the Healthy Relationships Initiative is to promote happy, healthy, and safe relationships of all kind in our community and beyond. And we launched in February of 2017 as a partnership between UNC Greensboro and the Phillips Foundation. And we work with a really extensive network of community partners to carry out our programming.
All right, now give me a specific example of how you might help. I mean, who would come in and be involved in this kind of thing? Give me an example.
Sure, we offer programs for relationships of all kinds, so it might be family or parenting relationships, couples, but also programs on things like workplace relationships and friendship.
You know, I didn't think about that because we tend to think automatically when you say, oh, we have an expert on the show about healthy relationships, we think, husband, wife. But you're right. I mean, you in workplace situations can get really tense if you don't have healthy relationships. So do you have a lot of people that have trouble with that?
We hear about challenges of relationships in all different areas of life, and definitely if people are experiencing stress in relationships at work, that also is something that could carry home and impact their relationships in their personal life.
Right. Is there a common denominator between all these folks? Let's say that 10 of them got in a room together wanting to ask you questions, and each of them had a different kind of problem. Is there a common denominator? Is it better communications, or is there something that helps everybody? Or
I think you're definitely touching on a big piece of it, that there are definitely some core relationship skills that can help people across all areas of life. Certainly communication, as you mentioned, also being able to work through problems and resolving and managing conflict in relationships. And so I think that there are core issues, but of course it looks very different depending on what kind of relationship we're talking about.
And of course you work yourself to death. You work all the time, and your work doesn't stop during the summer, because I understand you have some healthy relationship events coming up. What about that?
That's right. So actually through the Healthy Relationships Initiative this summer, our theme is the Summer of Healthy Love. And so we've got programs and outreach scheduled all summer long where we're looking at different ways of providing programming to help people strengthen their relationships, such as for couples or parents, or even healthy relationships in older adulthood.
Now, when do these programs start, and when do they end? Is there a period of time I need to know about?
Well, the programs actually really get started this week. We've got some programs this Friday, a free online relationship booster program on Friday, and then we've also got a workshop for couples coming up on Saturday in partnership with Fellowship Hall.
Now, do I pay a fee for this?
All of our programs for now are free and open to the public.
Wow, okay. I want to put up on screen something here because you can learn more about the summer program specifically and everything. www.guilfordhri, I guess, which, I'm kind of slow, but it stands for the Healthy Relationships Initiative, right? HRI.org. I'll say it again, guilfordhri.org. And for general information, as always, check out UNCG's website, uncg.edu. We've talked about some things that you talked with people before. Any other one tip that you might offer people in general if they're watching today, maybe they can't get to one of your sessions? Give me one tip that people should keep in mind for healthy relationships.
Sure. Summer is a great time to focus on building healthier relationships. And I think a great takeaway tip would be to be intentional about creating special moments with the people that you care about, and then really being present during those moments. So trying to take away distractions, take time away from technology, and really using those opportunities throughout the summer to connect and build healthier and stronger relationships.
Good advice. Dr. Christine Murray from UNCG. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today, and we're so lucky to have this lady with us. We can't get her too often because she's so busy, but we got her today. Next to me is the Honorable Mayor of Greensboro, Nancy Vaughn. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
There's so much going on, and we could fill up an hour easily with this, but let's try just to run down a few highlights. Downtown development. Give me an update on that.
Well, there are an awful lot of things going on in downtown Greensboro. There's a lot of talk about the Performing Arts Center, which will open in March of 2020.
That's the Tanger Center.
It is the Tanger Center. We've sold over 11,000 Broadway packages already, which exceeded our expectations.
Wow.
And people who haven't signed up for the packages can buy individual tickets starting June 2nd. We had a very exciting announcement with Centric Brands, which are bringing 218 jobs downtown. We were competing against LA, New York, and Montreal, and it is exciting that we were in the mix with those types of cities and that we won.
Wow, yeah. And what company is that again?
And it's Centric Brands, and it's going to be design of fashion. And they are downtown in a great building. It's a reuse of a very old building.
That's great. One
of Andy Zimmerman's buildings, which is exciting. Roy Carroll announced a $140 million project. There is another project, Slugger, which is a 9-story mid-rise office building going on downtown with other great things that are going on. And people sometimes say, why are you so excited, or why are you centered on downtown? And it's because downtown, really, those projects and the property tax that they pay help us fund the rest of the city. And they pay an extra 8% in the downtown bid to help support those projects.
I didn't realize that. Well, that makes sense then. All right, very quickly now, you sent me an email one day about something called, let me get it, see if I get this right, hashtag Invest East Greensboro Now. What was that?
So Greensboro Now is a rebranding of East Greensboro. And Greensboro Now stands for Nurturing Opportunities and Wealth. And we are changing the narrative of East Greensboro. East Greensboro is where we have to grow, and it is really a great place for people to invest. It's where all of our opportunity zones are. And we do have some wonderful investments going east. And I would encourage people to look at East Greensboro. We have wonderful colleges and universities in East Greensboro. We've got land for expansion. We do have people looking for growth. We have wonderful neighborhoods in East Greensboro. So we are looking at changing the narrative because it is a great place for people to live, work, and play.
Absolutely. Give me very quickly some highlights of the 2019-2020 budget that people might be interested in.
Well, we are making investments in our city. First of all, we are making investments in our employees. We have great employees. They have been putting in an awful lot of overtime lately. You know, last year we had a tornado, a hurricane, a tropical storm, and then we had a one-day blizzard.
Right.
We have had above record rain. We ask our employees to do an awful lot, and they always step up to the challenge, and we have to pay them accordingly. We have to invest in our infrastructure, and we also have to invest in quality of life issues. If we want to compete with our peer cities, we have to invest in our city. We don't want to be a mediocre city.
Right.
This year we are looking at a tax increase, and most cities and counties across North Carolina are also looking at a...
They're doing that.
They are.
Very quick, we have about 30 seconds left. I know there's a lot of stress in your job, but what do you like about it?
I think I have the best job in the city of Greensboro. I get to talk to people on a daily basis. They tell me what they like about it, what they don't like about it, and I love that human interaction. And to be able to impact people's jobs and their lives on a daily basis.
And you get to come here and see me.
Absolutely, yes.
Golly, there you go. Up on the screen, www.greensboro-nc.gov is the general website for the city of Greensboro. I hope you will check that out. There's so many, it's breathtaking. There's so many things going on. Mayor, you've been mayor since 2013. I hope you stay there. You're doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be right back after this. Oh, back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable, but I wanted to remind you to please pick up your copy of Yes Weekly. It's available all over the Triad. It's free, and pick it up in the newsstands, and it's also online. Now, three guys who don't have to be online because they're right here next to me live, And on my right, but always the political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster journalist. Next to him is that great educator, professor at High Point University and vice chair of the Forsyth County Commissioners, Dr. Don Martin. And next to him, we persuaded David Daggett to stay over from his earlier segment talking about the Kids for Kids Triathlon, and David's joining the roundtable. So welcome, guys. Good to see you. Thank you. First question, let's go to Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem City Council members have voted themselves a 59% pay raise, from just over $11,000 per year to over $18,000 per year. Councilman Don Bessie has a problem with the raise. Do you, Ogie Overman?
Well, it sounds a little exorbitant to me. I want to hear what Dr. Don has to say about it. He's in a better position than I am.
Don.
I think it is perfectly fine. And I'll just have to tell you, the county commissioners get a little more than that.
Well, we know that.
There
But
you
I
go,
mean,
but-
if you could take yourself out of the equation for a minute.
I actually know that it's been 11,000 for about 10 years. It's been 11,000 a long time.
Right.
And they spend a lot of hours. I mean, there's a lot of hours.
A lot of time put in it. David Daggett.
Yeah.
Clearly, city council's a service position, and it's a lot of volunteer time. They're woefully underpaid at 11,000. They're woefully underpaid at 18,000. I think it's more of a political issue than a practical issue. Probably on doing it, you choose your place and your timing to make it fit, but the dollar amount.
But you and Don don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem.
All right, still, let's stay in Winston-Salem for just a second. In 2018, last year, Winston-Salem police responded to 700 calls at Haynes Mall at a cost to taxpayers of $330 per call. I did the math on this. That's $230,000 last year that we taxpayers spent on police calls to Haynes Mall. Guys, should taxpayers continue to foot the bill, not just for Haynes Mall, but for any mall security? Ogie.
I would encourage him to beef up mall security, but really, I mean, you go where the need is. We had this conversation in Jamestown where 60% of the EMT calls were to the old folks' home because people fail. You go where the need is. That's
Right.
very simple.
But Don, those should malls take it on themselves to hire their own police force?
Well, there can be a blend of that, but think about that mall produces a lot of tax revenue. I mean, it's an important place for the community, and we are fortunate that our mall is pretty much full.
Right.
And I think that's important, and that's kind of a cost of doing business.
David.
I think if you do a math equation, the number of stores, the number of people there, it's probably not that much more than any other shopping area. There's probably other places in town.
Interesting point.
It just looks big because it's aggregated together.
Now, this next question, I wanted all of the guys to talk about it, but I'm particularly interested in what David's going to say because, of course, he and Griff have done such great work in putting together the Safe Sober Prom Night program that's been around for so long, very successful. Guys, state lawmakers are voting on two bills that have to do with the sale of alcohol. The Senate wants to allow the sale of beer and wine at state-run college sporting events, while the House wants to allow various retail outlets to start selling liquor instead of just the ABC stores. MAD, the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, says these bills will lead to more drunk driving. You guys agree with what the Mothers Against Drunk Driving are saying? Do you have a problem with either bill? Ogie.
I think you should go ahead and allow, I mean, people are sneaking it. I certainly snuck it into football and basketball games in college. Go ahead and get the revenue, but I'm okay with our ABC system. You're creating another layer of problems with retail outlets. I mean, not to many problems, but shoplifting is one. You can regulate it better.
Yeah, Dr. Martin.
There are clearly college venues that allow alcohol, and they seem to handle it and survive, and that seems to work. And I probably on Ogie's side. On the ABC store issue, I mean, that's kind of a monopoly for the state. It's good state revenue.
Right.
I mean, schools get a piece of that revenue. It's whether you believe in a free market issue.
But David, what about the fear of more drunk driving?
I believe in the free market issue. Every survey there is says that on college campuses today, alcohol is an issue, and they're trying to address it from various different angles. I think this sends the bad message. Whether they should do it or not, I think it sends a bad message to those students.
All right, a Superior Court judge recently ruled that North Carolina citizens like us can be arrested for trespassing if we enter or occupy government property, such as protesting inside the state capitol without permission. Are you okay with the ruling, guys? Or do you think we should have access to any government building whenever we want? Ogie.
I am totally not okay with it. That law was directed to the Reverend Barber solely, and I've been to the Moral Monday marches when people were getting arrested. I didn't get arrested, but I wish I had.
All right, Don.
Well, I think if you're in the way of government doing its business, And I think it's like spending the night inside the state capitol. That when the doors close, you got to get out. Now, if you want to stay out on the grounds and whatever, that's been done plenty of time. But I think if you prevent government from doing its business, you can be asked to move.
David,
I will add to that, if there's a legitimate security concern in certain places. Other than that, the right to free protest should always be part of our society.
how much time we got, Brian? One. Brian's holding up a finger, but I won't tell you which one it was. Finally, guys, police in Boston are looking for a man who broke into a local residence. However, the perpetrator didn't steal anything. Instead, he just cleaned the people's house. Guys, would you mind if someone broke into your house and cleaned it, Ogie?
It's a little hinky, isn't it? It reminds me of a Stephen Wright joke. Somebody broke in my house and stole everything and replaced it with an identical item.
Don.
I'd probably be okay with it, but he might be tempted to.
Yeah, David, would you
I know where everything is as it is now. If it got cleaned, I couldn't find the things that I know where they are, and I'd be lost.
So you're against it from an organizational standpoint. All right, guys, thanks. That's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. A group of witches in Romania made news last week when they started selling love spells over the internet. Asked if she liked having a love spell put on her through social media. One woman said, "Yeah, I'm all of Twitter." I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm not in with the technology. For all of us here, Try Today. I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.